Hey, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning into the show yet again. We missed you last week. I've been traveling around doing nonsense, realistically.
Just buying cars and not knowing what to do with them.
Buying them and storing them.
Yeah.
Gone in 60 seconds over here.
That's right. Today we're speaking to Mr. Brennan Tassel. How
What's
are you,
up?
sir?
I'm good. What's going on?
Chilling, man.
Yeah?
We're going to pretend like we haven't spoken for an hour.
Yeah.
Before we started this.
Yeah, we know. We've already done the catch-up, so
Right.
for everyone listening,
Yeah.
check out that. It'll be on my Patreon.
Yeah, of course.
I was recording this whole time.
Yeah.
It's just the audio.
That is what our lives have turned into, though, as comedians. There's so many
recording.
times I'll be at a club and like just doing a hang, and then someone always goes, "We should have recorded that," and I'm like,
Always.
"This is what our life is now."
Yeah. That's kind of how, I mean, I don't know about you, but my friend group growing up was like, we should just start some YouTube page, some podcast or some shit. So it's like,
You're a little younger than me,
Makes
so that
sense.
would have checked out timeline-wise.
Right.
But that's a genius idea. Like, if we would have been doing that, like the kids now, and we always make fun of them, we're like, these fucking influencers are like 15 years old and they have 1 million followers. It's like, yeah, we would have too. Because we were doing insane stuff when we were kids.
right.
And then you're from the generation where someone was like, maybe we should record this. And everyone's like beating him up, like, shut up, nerd. If it would have happened 10 years before, we would have been like, he's a genius.
Right. One thing we did, do you ever do the thing where you knock yourself out? Where you squat? You
Did I-
squat?
You're asking the recovering addict and alcoholic
Yes.
if he ever fucked himself up?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. All the time. We would do the thing where you would lean over and you would breathe really, really heavy, and then
Yeah.
you would slam against your veins, your arteries,
Yep.
and then you would get real spotty, and then you
We used to do that, a little different, where we would squat and then breathe real heavy for like a minute and then come up and go and push real hard.
Oh,
and it's the
yeah.
same thing, and you
yeah.
pass out.
Yeah.
And then you come right back.
Don't do it at home, kids.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Unless you're going to film it and put it on, get some likes.
He said it. I didn't say that. No, because we used to do. I remember one time. Speaking of dumb shit, I have a video online. It's on my YouTube. Brennan staples himself. I was 17 years old, and my sister worked at a movie theater. And this is when not even iPhones, when video phones first came out. So my buddy's recording, and I grabbed a stapler because I realized at a really young age, pain is just something that's in your head.
You just make it up.
So I would just do stuff, crazy stuff. Like I take thumbtacks and just stick them in. And so I took the stapler, and you hear this girl that I had the biggest crush on in the background going, like pleading, like, Brennan, please don't. And I was like, she's going to love me after this. And I just went whap, whap, whap. And she starts screaming. And I put it up on YouTube like 10, 15 years later. Like I had found the video. And so I was like, oh, I'll put this up. This will be huge. Apparently violence is frowned upon in the YouTube community.
Yes,
So
a
it got
little bit.
flagged and immediately like taken down. But I thought what we're thinking now is I was like, oh, I'm going to be famous after this.
Right.
And not famous. Just reminded of what an idiot I am.
Yeah, it's funny when you're 17, you think that doing something really stupid is like,
I thought,
you think it's pussy material.
dude,
Like,
I thought, I was like,
yeah.
she's going to love me after this. We're going to get married.
Yes.
Shout out, Cara. I know you're out there. Shout out.
Yeah.
Look at me. Shout out.
Does her fiance have a
Her husband? Her
does
husband
her husband
now?
staple
Yeah.
himself?
Does your husband staple himself? I don't think so. To quote Starship Troopers, pain is in your mind.
Right. Yeah. But there was this one time where we were doing that knockout thing, and my buddy did it like 7 times in a row.
That's too many.
like in a row.
That's too many.
And we filmed it and put it on Facebook, and then his dad came to pick him up later, and he was also wearing a Burger King crown the whole time. And his dad came to pick him up, and all you heard when he opened the door, his dad was like, "You motherfucker, you dumb fucker." And then he shut the door, and we all looked through like the back windshield, and you just saw Jay's fucking crown, and his dad just like, "You motherfucker."
I thought you were
It
going to
was so
say
funny.
you saw him take the crown off because he was no longer the Burger King.
He didn't even take it off.
God. It's a weird thing, too, because, like, being older now, because I'm still, obviously, I have Peter Pan syndrome. Like, I'm a child forever, but
Yes.
it's just weird because we're in this industry as comedians. We're basically kids. We're all super immature and, like, make fun of stuff we shouldn't. As we discussed, check out the Patreon, as we discussed before.
Right.
But it's just so weird to think, like, Yeah, we used to do really like there's so many times I'd get drunk at a party because I played fullback. So I developed the skill of where I could like smash my head into stuff and it didn't hurt. Or I'm just a crazy white person from the South.
yeah.
I don't think playing football had anything to do with it. But like I would get hammered at parties and be like, watch this, and put my head like through drywall.
Yes.
And be like, oh. And now like I see these NFL players with multiple concussions like committing suicide or like getting ALS, and I'm like, I probably could have saved a few concussions by not smashing my head into stuff for fun at parties.
Right, yeah.
Like, what the fuck are we thinking?
The football wasn't enough. You had to do it more.
I'm so stupid.
Hey, you know.
I just take my helmet off and slam it into my head.
Oh, man.
Because I was like, girls are going to love this.
Yeah.
Girls love a psycho.
I mean, they love the serial killer shows.
Yeah, but that's a different kind of... A serial killer is a very... You'll never know.
It's niche.
You'll never know. They're
Yeah.
just the quiet types. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Back home, there's a lot of fucking... Not a lot. I shouldn't say a lot. But there is a serial killer on the loose in Rhode Island.
Oh, really?
If you're in the area. Watch
How many
out.
people is he taking out? And it's a he.
I want to say... It always is. Except for Aileen. She's the only... You know Aileen Warnos?
Was that the one in Daytona?
What was the movie?
Monster.
Monster.
Yeah,
Yes.
Daytona. Shout out 386. What up, gang, dog?
Are you from Daytona?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I just like doing. Yeah, of course. I'm
Well,
from
I know you're
Daytona.
from Florida. but-
Yeah, no, I grew up in Daytona. In fact, she was doing her thing. You know, no disrespect to the victim. She was doing her thing out there when I was like, I think 17, 18, so like 20 years ago or so. Because there were people I knew who were like, you know, it's Florida, so I knew trash people who were going to bars at like 17, 18, and a couple of them like knew her. She was out in DeLand or Palaca, something like that.
And she was a prostitute.
Yeah,
Just killing guys.
just murking them.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, fuck it.
Good
Yeah.
for her.
You ever see the video of her?
No.
Fucking, she's like, yeah, I killed him. And they're like, why? And they're asking all these questions. She's like, the police let me do it. I'm taking guys off the street. They let me do it. Her eyes are fucking out of her head.
God, that's nuts.
Yeah, she's a fucking...
It is. So how many Rhode Island serial killer? How many we got
That's a
taken
good...
out?
We might have to look that up. It's...
Oh yeah, I forgot. We've got...
Oh, we got a Jamie, a Billy.
Pull it up below.
I want to say it's double digits right now. He's dumping them in Killingley, Connecticut. If you're in that area, my buddy just bought a house. out
Wait,
there.
I'm sorry. Say that town again.
Killingley. Isn't that funny?
This guy's an artist. This guy is an artist.
Yeah. Serial killing's a dying art, man. It's hard to do now.
Yeah, especially with forensics and all these people sending off the 23andMe. You're gonna get your cousin who's murdering people caught. Stop it.
Yeah, exactly. That's dry snitching. That's what they call that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think everyone's had this thought of, you know, you get frustrated with someone and you just think to yourself, if someone, you know, the Boondock Saints line, if someone would just kill these motherfuckers. But I don't think I could ever.
It seems like the number's 8. Right
8?
now,
Okay.
but they're uncertain.
Yeah. It could be
I don't
more.
think I could do
Could
it.
be more, could be less.
Yeah. I mean, like we were just talking, I feel bad roasting a person.
Yeah.
Forget killing multiple people and just going to your job at Dunkin' Donuts.
Because I've been really mad, but what's the Biggie line? I would never wish death on anybody because there's no coming back from that. Like, I've gotten really mad at people. But, like, if you think about it in the grand scheme, it's like I would, like, if someone threatened me and mine, I would have no hesitation.
Sure.
But if it's just, like, I'm, like, in a scuffle with somebody and then it's like, yeah, I'm just going to kill, like, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah. What if she was a fucking who?
Hey, how you doing?
You see The Sopranos, right?
Yeah, of course. Chokes her. And he's like,
Oh my
fuck, I'm gonna
God!
kill you.
Beats her face into the fucking.
But that is an interesting concept because I've been cheated on in almost every relationship I've been in. Probably need to look in the mirror. That might be a me thing.
Sure.
But even when that happens, I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like I never thought like now I'm gonna kill this person.
Right. Yeah, that takes a special place in.
And
your
I'm
heart.
I'm a crazy person.
Right.
Like diagnosed like bipolar 2, like crazy person.
Is it true that bipolar people love spending money? Is that like a symptom? Like-
I've got $100,000 in debt. That would agree with you.
yeah.
101 now, baby. Thank you, interest rates.
Yes, that's nice.
No, some of that is student loans, so let's not get too crazy.
And you can't get away from those. You're fucked.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's still in the court, so we haven't started paying it back.
Yeah.
But it's an impulse control issue. Is what my doctors have told me. That's, a lot of it between my alcoholism and my drug addiction, and like I have impulse control issues. I always just thought growing up it was just, oh, I'm just like I have addictive behavior tendencies, which actually is a superpower in some ways. Like with comedy,
Sure, yeah.
like I'll stay up till 2, 3 in the morning cutting clips and like writing and doing that kind of stuff. But then it's also very damning when I'm staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning playing The Witcher 3 for the 7th time, and it's
Right.
like, no, I gotta get the sword, the special sword, and it's like,
Yeah.
what? Go to bed, asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah, mania and impulse control are 2 big issues. So, like the other day, I got home from the airport after touring a little bit, and LaGuardia is 12 minutes from my house, and I was just like, I'm gonna take a black. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I'm gonna take a Lyft black. And my girlfriend, my Jewish girlfriend, I don't know why I said that.
She really wanted to take a black.
both her exes she has taken black twice. Listen here, everybody. No, but
Not happy about it.
she got really upset. She was like, "Why did you pay for the Lyft Black?" And I go, "It was $6 extra, and I got to ride in comfort."
Yes.
But
That's
again,
fair.
this is just like I was just like, it's more money. I don't care. I want to drive in a nicer car, and I clicked it.
Right.
But she is very much the opposite of like my mental illness. She's very much the opposite. So she's just like, that doesn't make any sense. Like if you add up all those $6 that you've spent on certain things, my argument is always like, well, it's a comfort thing.
That's the thing. That's what.
But I'm also in hellish debt. So
Right.
it's like maybe not. Maybe you shouldn't have that comfort thing.
But do you maybe feel sometimes it's so hellish where it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just another pebble in the fucking pond.
We got into I got into a little bit of an argument with someone because we were talking about financial stuff, and I'm good. Like I like numbers. I like analytics and stuff. I like seeing the whole picture. And so I got into this argument with somebody who was like, yeah, I don't think, because we were talking about debt and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I know how like interest and compounding interest and all that works. I just don't do it because I like spending money.
Yes.
And this person was like, yeah, but if you're ostensibly poor, you shouldn't be spending money on like to have more comforts. And then I got in. I fucking got on top of this hill where I was like, so you're saying poor people shouldn't be comfortable? Is that what you're saying? You're saying poor people aren't allowed to be comfortable because they're in a socioeconomic state that doesn't allow comfort. And I think I won the argument, but at the same time, I was kind of like, I probably could just save a little bit more money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, sure.
Look at you. You just bought a car.
Yeah, that I probably shouldn't have, but but fuck it, I'm the same way, dude. Money, I'll make more. It's fine. I'll be okay.
Well, this is something. Shout out my buddy Brant Tobler, very funny comedian out of Wyoming. He always says the same thing. He goes, "You can make more money. You can't necessarily always make more stories."
Sure.
So like,
I value those way more.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the end, my grandfather used to say this all the time. In the end, all you have are your stories.
Yeah.
So like, if I get hit by a bus walking out of here, my girl is set. I got life insurance. She'll be set, and like at least they'll be like, God, remember that? This is the thing. Tell me if you have the same thought. When I die, I want to make it so like at least a couple people are like, remember that time
Yes.
we did the thing?
Yeah. Because it's almost like you if you keep talking about someone that died, it's like there's in a sense still around.
Well, that's what the ancient
You
Greeks
know?
used to think. That's
Yeah.
why, like in the movie Troy, it's so the defining line when Brad Pitt looks at the little kid and goes, "That's why no one will remember your name." That actually was a belief. It's talked about in the Iliad as well. That immortality is achieved by people remembering you.
Yes.
That's how you achieve true immortality. As long as your name is still spoken, you are still around, to your point.
Right.
And that's what they believed in. And so it's like, yeah, your kids will miss you, your kids will miss you, like maybe your kids. But then after that, you're forgotten.
Unless you do 10 million on TikTok.
And
then plenty of people will remember
Yes.
you. Yeah.
But will they? I saw
definitely not.
Dat Fan. Shout out to Dat Fan, the winner of the very first. What was the comedy show? The competition comedy show. Oh,
Catch a Rising Star?
no! God damn it! The one Jay Moore did. Oh shit!
I don't know.
It was really big on like
We'll find
CBS
it.
and stuff. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting Billy's got access. Check it out, Billy. We gotta find a how Mark Norman does the autistic look it up, J-Mo.
Yeah,
give it a goog.
Give it a goog.
We gotta find something for Billy.
Well, we use
Was it
Brave.
competition we're looking for?
Yeah. Jay Moore's comedy competition. Last Comic Standing. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate you throwing that out there for me. Dad Fan won the very first season. And the reason I bring this up is because we're talking about like immortality and stuff. And you're like, okay, this guy's a hilarious comedian, won a comedy competition on a major network. Like this guy will be remembered forever. That was like 12, maybe 15 years ago.
Right.
This guy's doing like a lot of the same clubs. And it's nothing against, like he's hilarious, but it's just like it's so like that kind of fame, quote unquote, is so fleeting that I think you need to do something like major.
I think it's also about who you want to remember you.
That's true.
You know,
That's
like
a very good point.
if you want your kids' to remember you, then maybe you build a house or something that your family lives in.
That's a very good point because then every time they walk into that house, they'll go, oh yeah, this is where,
right.
you know, Grandpa built this house.
But to your point, it's also why people who can't be famous decide to be infamous.
Yeah.
And they do something wild.
I think about it all the time. We were just talking earlier about I don't have the Constitution, I don't think, to murder somebody. But I also do think sometimes I could just do this, whatever it is, and like I'd blow up tomorrow. And it's not a good thing. It's like a bad thing, but I'm just like, you know, those intrusive thoughts where it's like, if I did this, like if someone like bumped into me on the subway and I just smashed their head into the side of the thing, everyone's going to have their phones out. It's like, yeah, I'd probably get a few 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
You know?
Start selling
There'd
out
be
shows.
people arguing online. The guy bumped him first.
Right.
And then other people would be like, you know,
Get into a big televised legal battle.
the biggest thing I've ever done on social media, I went on a friend of mine's podcast and talked about how, because I'm a high strung, I have a lot of anxiety, as you can tell, all the scars on my body. I went on this podcast
Self-inflicted.
and I talked about how the time in my life where I had the least amount of anxiety was when I was incarcerated.
Yeah.
Because
makes
once
sense.
you get over that idea of like, there's nothing I can do about this, you're just kind of there. And then you're just kind of living every day for the day, like the day. And I remember the comments were so ferocious. Some people on my side, some people not on my side. And I was like, I'm talking about like my experience, like from an emotional, like anxiety standpoint. How are people like, man, look at this dumbass white boy talking about his shit. And I'm like, what is that? What?
How long collectively were you?
Oh God. The longest
in
stint I ever
jail?
did at one time was 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you say what that was, or?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. I don't know if any of
Someone's
this
never
is-
seen my set before. Yeah, of course. So I've been arrested 8 times, 2 DUIs, 9 counts of violation of probation, 1 arrest. I've gotten arrested for drunken disorderly twice, and I've gotten arrested for aggravated assault, bar fight.
Gotcha.
You know,
That's why you work in a restaurant.
she didn't put the fucking dishes away. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. No, it was a bar fight. But yeah, it's weird. I say this all the time to people. The first time you get arrested, because I was a well-to-do kid. I was a Division I athlete. I played college football. I was pre-law, took the LSAT, scored pretty high. And then Suits came out and was like, you have to score a 170. And I was like, fuck off, man. 164 is a really high score.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so everything was on the right track. And then when I got my 8th major concussion at practice one day, I couldn't play football anymore. And again, going back to those addictive tendencies, I just dumped all of my energy into drinking. Because I was like the party guy, like Jim Belushi in Animal House. Like I was that guy, but I was only that guy like 2 days a week when we had off days for football. And then once football was taken from me, I was like, oh, I can do this every day? I can just get fucked up every day?
Right.
And
And,
so
you have concussions and brain damage. That doesn't
so much
add,
brain damage.
You know?
And so I just
help.
started doing that, and that's when I started getting in trouble. And the first time I got arrested, I remember thinking, my life is over. And it wasn't. I got ROR'd, which is released on your own recognizance. And then the second time I got arrested, I was like, okay, this isn't as bad. Like, I know what the process is.
yeah.
The fourth, and like, by the time it's like I talk about this in my one-man show, which you can see on YouTube at youtube.com/Brennan T Comedy. I talk about when I got guns drawn on me. I had a warrant out for my arrest. We get pulled over. I'm sober at the time. We're actually on our way to a meeting of a super secret anonymous society. And the cop asked for my ID. And jokingly, I go, this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. I don't have to show you shit. Because I'm in the passenger seat. And then we have a back and forth. Because I know I have a warrant out for my arrest. Dude, they pulled guns, approached the vehicle, step out of the car.
Damn.
But at that point, I had already been through the system so many times. And this is a natural like reaction from a white privilege standpoint where I was just like, whatever. Like, come
Yeah, we'll
on.
be
Like,
fine.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
And that's when I ended up going away for 4 months.
Damn.
So I get arrested in Jacksonville, Duval County, shout out 904. And I have to get transferred to Palm Beach County because that's where my warrant was issued. And so they put you on a transport. It's the worst fucking thing in the world. You're like this. They put you in like a bus, like a bang bus style bus, but there's like individual cells. I only say that because that's the only bus I know as a point of reference that other people understand.
A bang
It's
bus.
like a long bus.
Yeah.
It's like a big long bus. Because we can't say the other one. We'll get demonetized. So they put us in this bus or van or whatever, and it's like it has individual like cells. So they have 12 people. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then on the other side it's 1, 2, 3. So I'm 6'1", 230 pounds, and I'm in there like this. And they stop at every county on the way down. So it's 12. A 4-hour drive takes 12 hours. And you're just like crammed in there. You can't like you're just sitting. Like you can't sleep. You
What if
can't
you need
move.
to pee?
You have to hold it until. So that's the thing is they stop at every county. So when you stop at the county, everyone gets off the bus. You go in to use the bathroom. Once it gets late enough in the day, you stop, and that's the county that you sleep in, and their jail. They host you like a sleepover.
Oh, they give you a little Snickers, maybe a little snack.
Yeah, I wish. We had McDonald's for every meal. They have to feed you twice a day.
That's not a fate worse than death.
Everyone got a McChicken and a McDouble. And I remember the first time we stopped, it was like 11 in the morning. And I was like, I'll have McDonald's at 11 in the morning. I'm not above this.
Sure.
Let's do it.
I'm going to jail.
Yeah. And I ain't going back.
Yeah.
But by the third meal, like on the second day in the afternoon, when you get handed that McChicken and McDouble, you're like, I think I'm going to die. This is poison. I think I'm
Sure.
dying.
Yeah.
But
Happens
yeah,
all the time.
the best part about it was when I got in front of the judge. So I'm orange jumpsuit, chained up. And it's in the same county that I went to college in. And again, I was pre-law. This happened 3 years after I had graduated. Something else that takes 3 years is law school. So what do a lot of kids do when they get out of law school? They go work for the state prosecutor to get experience. So I come out of the back because they hold you in a cell in the back. And then I come out of the back into the courtroom and I look across the courtroom. And 3 out of the 6 people working for the state prosecutor for Palm Beach County are all kids that I was a lot smarter than in pre-law society.
Damn.
And they all just looked over and they were like, what's the name on this case? And I was like, hey, guys.
Oh man.
So that was a very...
What was that like?
I mean, it's probably... As far as a moment in time, it's probably the most disappointed I think I've ever felt because I've gotten fucked up on the field, like I've gotten blown up in plays, like I've bombed on stage, like I've had very disappointing things.
Yeah.
But walking out of that back room and seeing what my life should have been, could have been, was supposed to be, and now I'm here, fresh out of rehab, living in a halfway house, and now I'm getting hauled off to jail after I did all this stuff to like make my life better.
Right.
It was probably the most disappointed I'd ever been in myself, where I was like, yeah, you fucked this one up.
Was it over after that?
No, not at all. Not at all. What are you talking about? I don't know if you heard me earlier when I said alcoholic.
Yes.
I'm not one of these pretend ones that texts their
Yeah.
ex-girlfriend and then goes to a meeting like, oh, I need to stop drinking. No,
Right.
real deal, baby. Blue blood.
You're in there.
Yeah.
Just a packet of salt.
Well, it was actually very funny, too, because the probation officer, so I'll say this, I will echo all my hip-hop influences. Fuck the POs. My probation officer said, I was waiting for Billy to be like, that's actually what I do. I'm actually a probation officer. But my
Pee in this cup.
the person representing the probation office for Palm Beach County was like, he has 9 violations of probation. Not to mention it's been 3 years since he's handled this. We're recommending 9 months minimum. And then those 3 people that I went to pre-law society with obviously have to recuse themselves from the case, but they were all character witnesses on my behalf. And then I had the halfway house owner write in. My sponsor wrote a letter. My job wrote a letter.
Wow.
And they were
People
all
helped
like,
you.
well, because like I hit my bottom and I realized like I needed to fix my life. A court didn't have to tell me that. Like I didn't have to get in trouble for someone to tell me that. Like I did this on my own. There's so many people I've met in rehab and halfway houses where it's like, oh, court order. I have to save my job, my marriage, my this, my that. It's like, no, I fucked up. And I
Right.
realized I fucked up. It took a little longer than I would have liked. But then I was like, I need to fix this. So then that went a long way with the judge. So he was like, okay, we'll do 4 months.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that it's a you decision.
Yeah.
And whatever it is.
Oh, I have this conversation with people all the time
Yeah.
because I'm very open on stage and on my podcast and everything about my sobriety. And I'll have people come to me and be like, hey, can you talk to my significant other? And I go, no, if they're not coming to me personally, like them, then they're not ready.
Right.
Then they don't want to get sober. I say this story all the time. And it's very sad. And I know we're trying to keep it cheery, but one of my best friends at the halfway house first went to rehab for his parents because he couldn't kick heroin. And then he, ended up relapsing. And then he met a girl. And then he's like, I'm going to go for this girl. And then he ended up relapsing. And then she gets pregnant. They have a kid. And he goes, I'm going to go for my son. He was dead before the kid was 2.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go
It
for
has to
you.
be for you.
Yeah. Or else you're never going to do it. There's so
Right.
much work involved. And it's so, especially the beginning is so miserable. It's like, if you don't have any kind of burning desire to do it, there's no reason to do it.
Sure. Yeah.
Fucking go out in a fiery death.
Yeah.
God
Pick
intended.
one or the other, man.
Yeah.
Don't grovel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. If you're going to talk about it, be about it, man.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether it's sobriety or whether it's fucking partying.
Yeah.
People tell me all the time. They're always like, yeah, you're a great drinking buddy, even though you don't drink anymore. I'll show up to a club, and if there's people there that I know drink, I'll be like, shot. We doing shots.
Right.
Because
You
it's
still
like,
got it in you.
yeah, you guys do it.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Right. You want to still keep the thing going for everybody, huh?
Yeah, it's just one of those things too, where it's my life is, I can't drink. And that's what I say. The sign for me, the reason I know I'm a true alcoholic is, 1, all the shit that's happened, but 2, it's the fact that I love drinking.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it's
so
fun.
much.
Yeah.
We talked about it on my show when you came on my podcast. Your
Yeah.
ex-drinking buddy. Check it out.
Yes.
But yeah, you talked about, like, you said, I remember the note you sent me was drunk for a summer.
Yeah.
And then when I asked you about it, you're like, well, it was like the summer into October, into November, then December. And it was actually January when I decided to quit drinking, or February even.
Yeah, probably.
And I
Something
was like,
that.
that's not a summer.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, no, that's a little while. Yeah.
But that's the thing is, like, I love drinking.
No,
and
it's
that's why,
fun.
like, when other people, especially people I know who, like, are normal, we call them normal drinkers in the super secret society I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, people I know who are normal drinkers, you're damn right, I'll encourage them. I'll be like, let's fucking go.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that they're not going to wake up the next day and do shots for breakfast like I used to.
Right.
I know they're going to wake up and be hungover and be like, oh, I'm not going to drink again for 3 months. Like, they're
He's a smart
okay.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not
I don't feel
that. I'm not that at all, dude.
Yeah.
Did you do this? Did you, when you were going through your thing? I never asked you this when you were on my show. Did you do the thing where you'd wake up and be like, I feel like shit, I have to drink? Like, I got to do a couple of shots?
I would think, like, I'm excited to drink later,
Okay.
but I wouldn't be like, no, I need to drink now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my thing is I used to get such bad anxiety about not having booze that big drinker by myself, love drinking by myself, because you know who doesn't disappoint you? The characters on Burn Notice that you've seen for the 17th time. They're not going to let you down like people at the bar will. So I would drink by myself and I would watch shitty shows, and I would always lay out 3 or 4 shot glasses, and then I would fill them all up. Because every time there was a line or something in a movie or a show I really liked, I'd be like, yeah, cheers to that. And I'd do a shot. And
Just
I
on your
remember
own.
there was,
That's kind of hilarious.
dude, I got 10 minutes of material on this, man. Has your Netflix queue ever told your family that you relapsed? Mine has. Yeah, because we have a family account, and literally, I turn it into a bit, but if my sister would log in and see, like, continue watching Jersey Shore or continue watching Burn Notice, she'd be like, Brennan relapsed again.
Yeah.
But I would pass out on the couch, and then I'd come to, like, that drunken, like, at like 2 a.m, and there would always be like 2 shot glasses still full. And my instinct would just be like, boop,
Knock 'em.
boop,
Yeah.
warm.
The
Like-
best. There's a fly in it.
Yeah, fly or dust or
Yeah.
just, the contents of it just sitting there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'd pass back. I'd pour them all back up, and then I'd pass back out. And then when I'd wake up to go to work, I would do a couple more because I wouldn't be able to drive without it, which I'm not, justifying or condoning it. It's just like physically I could not get out into my car without drinking.
Have you ever seen? I don't know if I asked you when we spoke before, but have you ever watched the movie Leaving Las Vegas?
It's one of my favorite movies of all
Dude.
time.
That movie's wild.
You can ask me anything,
Yeah.
just not to stop drinking.
Yeah, dude.
One of the most iconic scenes ever.
That movie's
Elizabeth
nuts.
Shue, Nicolas Cage. I will do anything for you, but don't ask me to stop. I actually took that and amended it with my girlfriend now because comedy's so important to me. I was like, I will do anything for you,
Yeah.
but you cannot ask me to not do comedy.
That's nicer, I would think. I think that's a nicer ultimatum.
I don't know. Comedy's not as much fun as getting hammered in Las Vegas.
Yeah, right. Dude, that scene, the scene that I always think of, aside from the ending, which is a wild scene.
Yeah.
But the scene when he wakes up and his body, he's jerking, and he's got to like crawl to this, and he's pouring the vodka and the orange juice, and he's like, that scene's wild to me, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that scene really hits for me because I lived like I was doing that. Like,
Yeah.
the last time I drank, I talk about this on my show sometimes, but my last drunk was my 30th birthday. And I remember I hadn't had a drink in like 2 months, and I had my own place because I got kicked out of my old place with my roommates. But I had my own place, and I was like, "Oh, I'm 30. This is good." And the more I thought about it, I was like, "Wow, this is weird." Like my twin sister got into, I won't put her business out there, but she got into a little bit of trouble before we were 21, to the point where we were like, "Oh, this might be a problem." And then she was just a normal kid going through normal kid stuff, in your early 20s, late teens. She was just doing that stuff. And nobody saw it coming from me. And we kind of flipped.
Yeah.
And then by our late 20s, I was the one where it was like, oh, this is a problem. Like, this isn't like, oh, I got, a DUI because I left the bar with this pretty girl. Like, this is now becoming an issue.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, I don't want to drink today when I went into work. I was like, I'm not going to drink. And then when I got off of work, I was sitting at home and I was just thinking about like, damn, man, my twin sister's now married with kids and a house. And I'm fucking working at a brunch restaurant. And it was a pretty okay apartment, but it's still like not the best apartment in Jacksonville. And I remember I got so mad because trajectory wise, if you looked at my childhood, like just on paper, you'd be like, oh, this kid's going to do something. And I had nothing to show for it. Dude, I was so angry. I got so drunk. I ended up in the hospital the next day. Through a bunch of different like I had a friend in town who happened to come visit. I didn't lock my door like I normally do. He walked in, saw me completely unresponsive on the floor. Damn. And he rushes me to the hospital. And then I wake up in the hospital and the doctor goes, you should have been dead like 3 hours ago, right? And then, of course, being a comic, I go, I've been training for this my whole life. And he was like, this isn't funny. Like, you should not be here.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, but I'm here. Like, I'm good. But that was the moment. That was my bottom. That was the moment where because I had plenty of bottoms before where I did fucked up shit. But then 2 weeks, it's Neverland, like from the movie Hook. Like the longer you're away from it, the further you get away from it, the more you forget.
It's interesting that you bring up your sister's struggle because I grew up with some people that they partied early.
Yeah.
15, 16, they're getting hammered.
I was
already
getting bullied, like sitting at home playing Xbox, and my twin
Right.
sister's like going to a house party, and I'm like, the fuck is that?
But those same people, a lot of them, end up being just normal
Yeah.
fucking. They
To get it out of their
switches.
system,
They
yeah.
get it out of their system.
Yeah.
Where I'm in a similar boat with, I guess you, where it's like I was good. I wasn't a great kid, but I was still worried about getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Where I knew a lot of kids that weren't worried about getting in trouble, and then I got a little bit older, and my thinking shifted. But it's interesting that you bring that up because there's some people that do get it out of their system early and then they switch, and then there's some people where they switch the other way and they're like, I didn't get to do any of that fun shit before.
That was me.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I got to college, I was like, because I was, it's interesting, and we were talking about this before, but the idea of Bro Adjacent, which is the tour that I'm doing with the headliner, Matt Fulcheron, but the whole idea comes from this, like on paper, I look like a douchey alpha bro. I go to the gym 6 days a week for 2 hours a day. I'm way too strong for a 36-year-old who doesn't do anything physical. But it's stupid. Like,
Where do you squat, bro?
There's no reason. I was doing 405 for reps today. It's like, there's no reason for that.
Yeah.
And I'm being dead serious. Like, I work on my feet as a server and I do stand up. Like, if I blow out my knee, I'm fucked.
You're fucked, yeah.
But I'm still in the gym, like smacking myself, like, let's go. And so on paper, like, again, played college football and stuff. On paper, you'd be like, this guy's like the biggest, like, Roganite. Like, this guy has to be like a total douche guy. But I'm really not. It's just I dump a lot of my addiction into working out, and I have body dysmorphia because I was bullied so brutally badly as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do this kind of stuff because you're on a winning streak. Like, I hated my life as a kid, which is why I got into stand-up, actually, because that was the only thing that I would, like, laugh at. And I was like, oh, there's something that can make other people laugh. Anyway, that's douchey. But I say all that to say when I got to college and I did that switch, I remember when I stood up for myself, the very first time I ever stood up for myself, and it worked.
Yeah.
I was in an elevator with this girl, Marissa, God rest her soul. Fentanyl. It's a fucking hell of a drug. We're in the elevator, and we're going up to her dorm room. And I was a preferred walk-on, so I didn't come in with all the scholarship kids. I came in 2 weeks later. And I remember being in the elevator, being like, I'm here to play football, talking to her. The elevator door opens, and these 3 dudes get on, big black dudes. Obviously, they're on the team because the only people in school right now are the summer class kids and the football players. And one of them looks at me. And he was like, hey, hey, bro, I don't recognize you. Are you like from around here? Like, are you in this dorm? I go, no, I actually just got here for the start of the fall season. He's like, I'm on the team, man. You don't play football. He's like, you better chill, bro. And I remember, because this is how we talked in the early aughts. And I remember looking at him, I go, nah, bro, you better chill. And he was like, all right. Nice. And I was like, oh my God, it worked. Billy, it worked. And I was like, that's all I had to do was just set a boundary and stick to it. And I remember I have been living in that mindset mentally the entire time I drank. So this happened at 18 years old. From 18 to 30, I was always that 18-year-old kid who finally stood up for himself. I started sleeping with girls all the time. And it was like, I was like, this is the life.
It switched.
And I equated everything to everything else. So, like, I was having fun drinking, which was a product of playing football, which was a product of me standing up for myself. Like, it all had something to do with each other. And I wanted to live in that forever.
Right.
And even when I left football, even when they told me I couldn't play anymore, I still wanted to live in that. And that's, dude, it's to exactly your point. I just could not. I was Arrested Development. I could not get out of that. And I still can't a lot.
Yeah. And what's interesting is we both work in restaurants. And, booze is flowing constantly, whether it's during, after, before. People show up hammered.
Yeah, they do.
And that's fun.
Idiots.
That's a fun time. I love doing that. But,
That used to be my thing.
yeah, dude, getting a few drinks before you go to work.
Dude, my tables loved me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you too. It's your birthday. All right. We're singing a birthday song. Bonzer, birthday, friendly Outback crew. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
There's only, have you ever been sent home for being drunk at work?
Not yet.
It only happened to me, but I drank especially towards the end, I drank every day. And
Every shift.
it only happened, I think 4 or 5 times where they were like, you're too fucked up. Like, you have to go home.
4 at the same place?
2 at one place, 3 at another.
I was going to say, damn.
But no, I'm a very good server. Like, I'm so good to
Yeah,
where they
no,
were
I
like,
believe
just
that.
go home and sleep it off and then come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm very much like, like one of these NFL players where I'm very John Morant. They're like, stop doing dumb shit and just play basketball.
Right.
But I was drunk every day and I was having so much fun.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
Sometimes it is fun.
You're just talking to people.
Yeah. You're just fucking around, talking to people.
Yeah.
I don't love that industry, but I think it's a great job if you're doing something else.
Yeah.
Like we're doing stand up, but if you're doing something else, you get quick money.
Yep.
You don't got to work 40 hours.
I tell people all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, because sometimes guests, I don't think, we were talking about putting our foot in our mouth earlier in certain situations. And sometimes I don't think guests mean ill intent, but like I'll talk to them and they'll be like, I work at a very old building, like old restaurant. It's got all these like old pictures on the wall and stuff. So they'll ask me about it and I'll explain it to them. And I go, yeah, I studied history, so I'm really into this kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, you went to college? I was like, yeah, I was a double major in history and political science. And like, oh, did you finish? And I'm like, yeah. And then they always inevitably say, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And I, especially in New York, I want to be like, well, I make close to $100,000 a year and I work 4 days a week. What are you doing?
Yeah. Right.
But it's also like, I know that might come off as douchey, but it's like, I have so many friends that work 9 to 5s and do stand up, and it's great. It's great for in the city. It's perfect for in the city. You get your weekends off and stuff. But like the run I just did, the shows I did were Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then a Sunday show in Charlotte. So one out of those, I would have only been able to do 1 out of those 6 shows.
Sure.
had I worked a 9 to 5.
Right.
And it's like I just tell work like, hey, I'm going on tour, and they're like, all right, put it in the book.
And they figure it out.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I've met so many comedians at the restaurant I work at. I think we talked about this on my podcast, but it's equidistances between the stand and the cellar. I talk some shit about it in my set, so I never say exactly where I work, but I'm now friends with like managers of comedy clubs, like huge big name comedians, all because of working there. So people are like, you need to quit the restaurant. I was like, I got to perform at the Comedy Cellar, not because of all the open mics I go to.
Right.
I got to perform because I gave a free slice of chocolate cake to a comic that produces a show at the Cellar. And he's like, do you have 5 minutes? You want to do my show? Like, you
That's all
can't.
it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these people are like, yeah, well, I'd rather work at 9 to 5 to do stand up. I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Not to mention, it's soul sucking working a job like that.
Dude.
It's like,
Could
at
you
least,
imagine?
oh, dude, at least like a.
No offense, Billy, if you work a 9 to 5. Do you work a 9 to 5?
Not exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all we need. Then, yeah, let's talk more shit.
I work full time.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah.
So, like, what, 24 hours a week? That's my full time. Is that? No, I'm just.
That's rough.
No,
and
like
fine.
60.
Oh my God. This guy's working.
He's a dog, but he's not a comedian, so it's.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Well, because that's the other thing, too, is like people don't count a lot of the comedy stuff as work. Like regular
Right,
people are
right.
just like, oh, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
And I get like when I came back from the tour, one of my buddies at work was like, "How was your vacation?" I go, "Well, it was on a vacation. I was working." And he goes, "Well, yeah, but you weren't like working." And I go, "Do you know what it's like to perform for 30 hammered ass people screaming at you you're not funny
Yeah.
in Hartford, Connecticut?" No, it was work. It was
Yeah,
definitely work.
Not to mention all the work it takes to get the act put together,
yeah.
to write. And,
Well,
you
and
know,
like
that's the
just
whole
driving
thing.
there. It's like I sat in a
That too,
car
yeah.
for 4.5 hours
Yeah.
to get paid $50. Like,
I've always thought anytime you do something on your own, you have to treat it, unless it's legitimately just a hobby. But what I'm thinking of specifically is this podcast and stand up. It's like you got to treat it in a sense like a job,
100%.
professionally.
I don't even think in a sense. I think you
You have
absolutely have to treat it like a job.
Yeah, like if you plan on sitting down and writing, you have to for that time, and then you have to go do the mics. And you have
Because
to
if
go
you
do-
don't respect it,
yeah,
why would you ever make it?
right,
You know what I mean? Like it's the same. I mean, you look at you got a producer.
yeah,
Like when I started my podcast, I did the same thing though. I go audio and video. I wanted to stand up to Your Mom's House, JRE, like all these podcasts that I knew about. I was like, I want mine to stand up to those.
It's like when you hear someone talk about athletes, pro athletes. They're like, "Well, I could be an athlete if that's all I had to do that day," and it's like,
No, you couldn't.
no, you couldn't. But it also like that person was doing that all day since they were 5.
Yep.
It's not like
I lived that life. I
Right.
mean, I wasn't a pro athlete, but I played at a Division I school in Florida.
yeah. I mean, that's
Like
pretty fucking close.
It's 80 hours a week, man. Like you wake up at 5 a.m., you go to your workouts,
Yep.
you do your film study, you go to class, you do another workout in the afternoon, back to class, you're eating sometime in between there, and then you have practice for 3.5 hours.
Yep.
And then it's more film study. It's like that's another big reason why when I stopped playing, I was just like, I have so much free time now that I was like, yeah, I could drink if I did practice every day, I could drink every day.
Yeah, I had a similar thing, not as dramatic, but with weed in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I used to wrestle D1 school, and I tore my labrum, which I didn't realize was actually a horrible injury.
Yeah. That'll fuck you up, dude.
Dude, I wasn't able to wrestle like after that. Not, consistently at
Yeah.
least. I would try and practice, but the shoulder would pop out,
dude.
and eventually I was like, fuck, I can't do it. And I had some buddies that just smoked weed on the weekends. So I was like, I guess I'll hang out with you guys. And
not
I
doing
was
anything.
just getting high all the time. But it's like that same thing, whereas like football got taken from you, so you're like, I can go fuck off and do other shit.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a very good point that you make. It's one of those things where if I don't treat comedy and podcasting like it's my life's work, why would I expect anyone else to give a shit about it?
Right.
If I don't treat it like that.
Right.
Dude, it's so funny because you and I have talked about this before, but like when people are like, oh, enjoy your days off. It's like my day off on Wednesday is my day off from the restaurant, one of them. And I do more on a Wednesday
Yep.
than
There's
like I
no
wake
days
up, I
off.
go to the gym, I hit 2 to 3 mics.
Yep.
We're recording this podcast now. And then after this, I'm going to go to the cellar.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do more like on days that I work, those are easy days because I wake up, I go to the gym, I putt around the house, maybe take a nap, maybe hit the Met before work or something because I'm super cultured.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's like then I go into work.
Yeah.
But like on days off, it's like, oh no, these are comedy days.
Right.
This is why we played the game. This is why we showed up.
Right.
This is why I moved across the country.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate the place I work at, I mostly day shifts, which is nice because then I can bang out. I can do some stand up at night. But I talk to my friends and I'm like, yeah, dude, I work every day. And they're like, you work every day? And I'm like, no. I work a job 4 days a week, but I'm also doing all this other shit all the time. I'm doing podcast stuff and the same thing you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's like days off aren't the same. It's not like I'm gonna go golfing and fucking smoke a cigar like
Today-
you're gonna do, you know?
Today, I told you this, and I'm just going to be honest with all the listeners. I'm incredibly self-conscious that the man sitting to my right works 60 hours a week, and he hears us bitching about going to mics and stuff. I'm just waiting for him to be like, yeah, I lost the feed, guys. Sorry. But it is like today, like it took a lot, like from an emotional standpoint to be like, I've been touring. I have the podcast tonight. I have all this footage that I have to dump because you know with these cameras it's like 100 gigabyte file and it's like fuck. Like I got to reduce this down. I got to do a 2-pass, all this kind of stuff. I'm trying to throw out technical terms so Billy respects me.
He understands all that.
But
I don't even know what you're talking about.
but you know the VRB 2-pass. You know you got the bit rates. It's a whole thing.
I don't think we do any of that, right? We just kind of film it.
Yeah, because we're multi-cam recording, so I'm live editing right now.
Yeah, so he's doing it now. I have to do it on the
You do it
back end.
afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, so we just hit record on the cameras, and then afterwards, I've got an hour and a half show.
Yeah.
It's a 120 gigabyte file that I have to condense down because nobody's got room for 120 gigabyte files for 6 shows.
Sure.
So you have to adjust it. But I say all that to say, like today, I was like, you cannot do the mics, and I normally go to the mics now just. Because more it's like a hang with my friends. And if I have a bit that I just wrote, I'm not going to do it at a show where I'm getting paid. Like I'm going to try it at a mic. I have not earned the gravitas to like be at the stand and be like, yeah, let me just throw some shit against the wall. Like I don't have the following to do that.
Sure.
So I'll go to mics to work on stuff. And dude, today I was like, every time I looked at the clock, I was like, well, I could still catch the 3 and the 5. I could still get there late for the 3.
Yeah.
I could definitely still hit the 5. And it's like, no, you have a lot of other shit you got to get done. Get it done. And honestly, there was that weird feeling where it's like, I got so much done today. I was like, imagine if I actually took the days off, every single day off I had. Right. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Right.
Now I see why their song is living for the weekend, baby.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the other part of the battle is like knowing when to take a step back.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
You're asking the wrong guy on that.
No, I know I am. I'm the same way, dude. I mean, like I was telling you today, I fucking took a bus.
Yeah.
From Rhode Island back here, took a nap, and I was like, woke up in like a fugue state. I'm like, I got to go squat 325.
Oh, there you go. Are you doing 325?
Yeah.
How
That's
many?
my max. That was a 1 rep max. But it's not much. I know.
Right.
I know. 315. I've comfortably been able to rep.
There you go.
It's always eluded me. It's always been scary because I'm injury prone. I got a bunch of injuries.
Yeah, I'm Eastern European. I'm built like a cockroach.
Yeah. No, you're.
Some people
stocky.
say tank, but I don't. I'm a fatty.
Fatty boom batty. Shout out.
Tim Dillon. Dude, when he first started doing that, I could not unhear it.
Dude, I love it.
Now every time I see one, I'm gonna go fatty boom batty.
Yeah. He said it in his last special.
Yeah.
He threw it in there.
Yeah. Shout out Tim Dillon with his "I Am Your Mother" on Netflix.
Dude, so funny. He's one of my, as far as like modern people, because that's like my vein of stand up. Like I love, like he's all into the government fucking people.
Yeah.
I love all that shit.
Yeah, and I like it. I love it too because it's a real interesting thing because like people are talking about. We'll get political for a second. People are talking about like the tariffs and stuff, and American history was my focus in school. So like we've done this before, and it's always during or preemptively before a massive depression.
Oh yeah.
And so people are always like, no, it's going to help. And I'm like, actually, history has told us virtually it's going to destroy so much.
That's
and
old.
Tim's been on this from the beginning. And it's weird because you don't know, like he obviously sounds when he talks like right leaning, but he's more of a realist where he's just like, no, the corporations are in charge. Like I'm not for the corporations. I'm just telling you what's happening. And that I always have respected where it's like, yeah, he's not. Like if you show up to a job interview and you're like, look disheveled and like a piece of shit and you don't get the job, you can't blame it on all this other. It's like maybe put on a tie or something.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, oh, that's this, that's that. And it's like, it's the truth.
Right. You know what sucks when you explain that to someone that you've known for a long time and they just cannot grasp it.
Yeah.
Like I was having a similar conversation where I was like, one of my buddies was talking about how all the Dems, and I'm not in that world at all. I think they're all fucking slimy crooks anyway.
I say it all the time. To run for president, you have to be the biggest narcissist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you have to be a sicko.
To think I know what's best for everybody.
Exactly.
You're
right.
I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You're a psycho.
Exactly. But he was talking about how, like, all the other Dems will shit on, let's say, AOC for wanting to tax rich people. And I'm like, yeah. Because they're the rich people.
Yeah.
And they're friends with the people that are richer than them that pull the strings. So it's like, hey, lady, shut up. We're all in on this.
Yeah.
What would the phrase be? Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Right? It's like we're all in this thing. We're all in this to make a lot of money.
Nancy Pelosi pulled her money out of the stock market.
Yeah.
What was it? The day before it crashed because of COVID?
How did she know that?
She's on the subcommittee.
Yeah. How could she have known that?
But it's bananas to me because it's always been like this. And the thing that kind of pisses me off the most is, doing what we do, especially living in the city we live in, we meet a lot of liberal elites. And by that, it's people who grew up in the upper middle class or upper class, but they see themselves as very progressive. And that makes me very angry because as someone who's been on food stamps, as someone who's been incarcerated a few times, someone who's been in the system, I understand it from the perspective of like, I've been in that system. Like I get it. I've been poor. I've been this, I've been that. And then for someone else, it goes back to that comfort conversation we're having earlier where someone's like, well, if you have a lot of debt, should you really be spending extra money on this? And it's like, so you're basically saying if you're poor, you shouldn't be comfortable. Like I have these conversations all the time where people will be like, oh, well, you know what we should do? We should just give everybody this. And it's like, that's not how it works.
Right.
Something given has no value.
Sure.
And I would love it. I would love it if we could do things like that. But it's just, there's a finite number of resources and there's too many people. So someone's always going to get fucked. We're too big to be a republic anymore. We're too big to be a democracy because what someone needs in the fields of Iowa is totally different than what someone needs on, Tompkins Street in Brooklyn.
Right.
Those are two different things.
Right.
But we're still judging it on the same barometer of like the federal government. It's like, they don't know shit.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's a good point that it's just too fucking big.
There's too many.
It's an empire now.
Yeah.
It's not a little new country.
No, it was easier before when people could be like, all right, everyone in this room, yes or no. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, you guys represent the 13 colonies.
Yeah, exactly.
But now it's like there's 50 states. And again, and I say this all the time, people in the major cities think they know what's best. Not everybody, only a Sith deals in absolutes, but the majority of people in major cities think they know what's best for everybody. And it's like, yeah, how did that work out in the last election?
Right.
How did that work out? Where you guys thought you knew best. You guys wanted to do all this stuff. And you got boat raced.
Sure.
And everybody saw it coming too. Because everyone underestimates like the poor farmer in Iowa or the grocery store clerk in, Minnesota. Like no one gives a shit about them.
And not to mention at the highest level, most of those people aren't there on accident.
No.
They got people, their family's been in government, their family's part of the
No
bureaucracy.
one's plucked out of obscurity.
Of course. So it's like, how could that person work for me?
Yeah.
They don't know how I'm living. They don't know how the fucking farmer in Iowa is living. They don't understand any of that shit. And because they've been so privileged and so wealthy throughout their life, their hierarchy of needs has been completely met.
No one.
So they can think about whatever the fuck they want.
It's always like, oh, we know best, and it's crazy to me because I'm like, you don't know shit.
Yeah, you're just another person.
And this isn't even just politics. This is anybody that I run into, especially we deal with it in New York, especially in certain comedy scenes, in certain like boroughs, where people are like, you can't say that, you can't do this, you can't do that, and it's like, really, that's what we're fucking worried about right now?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to get too down this rabbit. But another thing is like, just real quick, because you brought up AOC earlier. It's so funny to me when people are like, she was a bartender. It's like, yeah, she wasn't plucked out of obscurity. She was a bartender like getting her law degree.
Right.
Like, what are we talking about?
Right, yeah. She wasn't a bartender in a punk bar.
Yeah, and where she
Blowing
was just like,
lines in
I
the
want to do,
bathroom.
I think I know what's best for others, so I
Yeah.
want to help. Like, I mean, given she does, I've met her a couple times. She does have that spirit of like, she really does seem like she wants to help. But they've done so many movies about this. Wag the Dog. What is it? Mr. Robinson Goes to Washington or whatever that movie was. Where they talk about like everyone thinks they're going to get there and change it. I rewatched West Wing during the pandemic. Everyone thinks they're going to get there and change the world. But that's not how it fucking works, man.
Yeah.
In anything. We see it in comedy all the time. I'm sure everyone sees it at their job. You got to go along to get along. Or else you're fucked.
Right. You're not going to go in there and change everything.
What do you think you're going to do?
Yeah.
We hired someone at work that might not be up to snuff, and we're a pool house. So that means a lot to this other servers. And there's a server who's like going to die on this hill of like, she cannot work here. She does not have the experience. She doesn't have the drive. She doesn't have the sense of urgency. She cannot work here. And the manager's like, she's already been hired.
Yeah.
How hard it is to fire someone in New York? They're like, she works here now. And I turned to him and I'm like, yeah, what the fuck do you think you're going to do?
Yeah.
It's $1 billion corporation.
Right.
You think they want a lawsuit on their hands?
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, you ever see the video of Putin talking about
Which one?
presidents?
The horseless, the shirtless horse video?
That exists.
Oof.
He's riding a horse with no
Have
shirt
you ever
on?
seen? Can you pull it up? Putin shirtless on a horse. This dude. I mean, before the cancer, but this dude is jacked as fuck.
Oh, dude, he's a judo master. You see him throw people around? He's nasty at it.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
of course they're not going to resist,
yeah.
right?
I never believed this.
You have to be a good uki for him.
I think it's the top left.
Oh yeah, huh? He is
Yeah.
jacked.
God, look at him.
Look at that Russian dude.
Ocho
give a fuck.
Priatna. Yeah.
Look at that
Zoom
guy.
that in, baby.
Holy shit.
God, he's so hot.
Yeah, he looks good there.
He looks great there.
How long ago was that?
Like 6 years ago.
Oh, okay. So now he's
Sorry, I'm googling
he's
the
a little
Google.
more. Well, the video I'm talking about.
I'm sorry. I got so sucked into that.
The picture's 2009, so he could have degraded from then.
Oh, for sure.
Well, yeah.
right?
Now he's got cancer, and
He's all cancer ridden.
Wait, what did I say? I said 6 years ago. God, where do I store these crazy facts in this riddled brain of mine?
Yeah, but he talks about presidents in America.
Yeah.
And he's like, what happens a lot is a bright-eyed, bright-futured candidate goes in with all these ideas. We're going to switch things around. And his wording is literally like, then a bunch of guys in suits come in. And they're like, hey, this is what we're going to do, by the way. Forget all that other shit you're talking about. This is, we're going to, fly
Dude.
planes in
Well,
the buildings.
yeah. Does jet fuel melt steel beams?
I don't think so.
No, but I mean, I'm reading right now. I'm reading Howard Zinn's book. It's the People's History of America. Because this is what I read on the subway. Because I'm a psycho, so I just read textbooks on the subway.
Sure.
But it's an interesting thing. Like he talks about it with Lincoln, which it's very well documented. When Lincoln was campaigning in the North, it was all about like keeping the Union together, solidifying the Union, and if that means we have to end slavery, that means we have to end slavery. And then he'd
Right.
go to the South and be like, under no circumstances am I going to end slavery. I'm all about keeping the Union together.
Yeah.
The Union staying together is strong. And then people would be like, hey, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. He goes, nope, I said we're keeping the Union together, and I stick by that. They're slippery.
That's the game.
They're slimy, dude.
That's part of the game, dude.
And Thomas Jefferson wanted a slave owner, documented slave owner, wanted to have something in the original Constitution, or excuse me, in the Declaration of Independence about slavery, because he knew in his heart it was wrong.
Yeah.
And they were like,
They
nah,
didn't give
bro.
a fuck.
No, they literally were like, nope. To your point, they were like, this is actually what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And he was like 21 at the time, so he was like, okay,
That's what's even crazier is they were all like
Yeah.
young kids that just did this.
like 18 to 26.
Yeah,
Like the old guy was 26,
yeah. Because you lived to how long in those days?
like 32.
Yeah, of course.
Benjamin Franklin
like
was like the
Jesus.
OG, and he was. It's so funny because they talk about him as like this old plump guy. It's like he was 54. Yeah. Like, what are we talking about?
That's like 100 these days,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Because
it's-
now 54, you could be jacked at 54, dude.
Dude, look at we know so many people who are jacked, and you figure out their age, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Even Mark Norman, who's like, I saw a video with him with his shirt off. I don't know why I see all these people with their shirts off, but
Was he riding a horse?
no, I wish. But he's like I think he's just now 40. But I was like, damn, dude. For a guy who's like, he's like he's a comic. He's a goofball, and it's like you're actually pretty jacked, dude.
Yeah.
Like he's shredded.
Everybody's jacked and everybody knows some kind of martial art.
You know what's funny
Everybody
about
could
that?
fuck somebody up.
I hear that, but it's like I still feel like I could throw someone through a wall.
Well, you were a D1 athlete. You
Yeah.
can fuck up most people just off the strength of
Strength,
just
Off
yeah,
the strength of
exactly.
strength.
Off
But that's
your
the thing.
strength.
Tell me if you feel this way, because you and I are built similarly. Like when you see these little guys, like obviously I'm not talking about a professional UFC fighter, but when I see some of these guys being like, "Yeah, I've been doing MMA for like 10 years," and they're like 130 pounds, I'm like, I would throw you through a fucking wall.
I wrestled, did jujitsu also.
So you could.
So I know, like, even if they're doing it, I'm like, I'll be fine.
So let me ask you, as someone who has a background in it, as a former athlete who's a big guy who still works out like crazy, do you think a 130-pound like guy who does jujitsu would just fuck me up?
He has a good chance.
See, I think physics would get in the way of that, but I guess that's what jujitsu teaches you.
You could probably smash his head into the ground, but if he snaps your arm
Yeah,
clear as day,
yeah,
it's gonna cause problems.
yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
your
that's what I
best
always
bet would be
think.
to grab him.
Or like if you hit him in the street and say you're wearing like a hoodie or something.
They'll just
They'll
it's
strangle you
over.
with a hoodie.
But I think about that a lot because it's like I understand there's technique to it and they're trained and I'm not taking anything away from it. They're athletes, but in my head I'm always like, yeah, but it's physics. Like I'm twice their size, and God knows how much. Because we're not talking pound for pound. When you're talking about a fight, you're talking about just straight strength, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, I know I'm stronger just from a purely physical aspect, but I guess that wouldn't
Go
matter.
try. No, like seriously.
Well, I have
Just go to the gym, do it.
There's a very good friend of
Bradley
mine.
Martin style.
You might know him too, Desmond Lee, very funny
Yeah,
comic
yeah.
who rolls.
He's awesome, yeah.
He every time I see him at the mics every Wednesday, he's like, "Dude, you have to come." Yeah. And I'm like, "Why?" He goes,
was on
"You're
here,
so
too.
fucking big. It would
Yeah.
be so much fun."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't. Someone's gonna break my arm or
It's
rip
an
my
easy
labrum
question
out.
to answer.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know?
Like, do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Hey, you're talking all this shit this whole time. Do it.
Just give it a try.
Do you know Brian Shaw?
Yeah, of course.
Have you seen him grapple with Dustin Poirier?
No.
So Brian Shaw is like what, 400 pounds or
Yeah.
something. Dustin Poirier fights at 155, and let's say when they grappled, he was 180. I mean,
Wasn't even close.
Brian couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
He was big, like you can't manipulate his body like you would, but
Yeah.
he chokes him, like he gets on his back and choke, and
Yeah.
Brian's like,
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
yeah,
But like it was on wrestling mats. So like say it was
in the
on
street,
asphalt,
Yeah.
Brian's dragging him through
That's-
cement. Things
yeah.
go differently.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were only grappling, so it's
Well,
like,
it's like you said, like if someone tries to get my back and I just take all my weight and just throw it backwards, like
it could work.
that's gonna fuck someone's day up. I
Yeah.
would assume.
Could hurt yourself pretty bad.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. Yeah,
yeah.
crack my head, then it's like I
Yeah,
win.
he just moves his head out of the way.
Yeah,
Fish.
just want to finish him.
Yeah.
Fatality. I don't know. I'm always curious about this, just because. Like it gets to a point where, like, because I've gotten my bell rung by dudes like half my size on
Yeah.
the field, like a corner. Like I played fullback, and a corner would come screaming out of nowhere and just fucking light me up. But that's like in my head, I'm always like, yeah, but they had like a runway, they were like sprinting, like,
Right.
it's physics. But I'm always thinking like, if it's just me, I don't know. I'm gonna try it now. You've talked me
Give it a
into
go.
it. I want to try it.
Dude,
fun.
you'd get
It's a lot of
addicted
fun.
to it.
Yeah. Plus,
You'd get addicted to it.
yeah, I'm a very competitive person. I want to do something like that.
Yeah, you should try. I mean, a lot of places have like trials or open mats and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I want to do the jujitsu. Because if I get hit in the head the wrong way, my
Right,
neurologist
Yeah,
said I could
it's less
die.
impact, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, stay away from
because of all my
striking.
concussions. So I want to do jujitsu, and I'm gonna talk to Dez. I'm gonna be like, let's go roll, bro.
Yeah, dude, I want to go with him. I almost hit him up.
Because you do this stuff
recently.
too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little far removed from consistent training, but pretty much my whole life I've been doing it.
Yeah.
So
Let's get that Simian blood in there.
yeah,
Fucking so
no, it is a good time. It's fun and it is addicting. Like for someone that is an athlete and is an addict,
It'll
Dude, the fucking
do it.
first time I slam someone on the ground, I'm like, I love this. Hulk smash, and then I get choked out the very next minute, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to play anymore.
well, there's a couple different because you can do gi or no gi, and
Nogi, I had that last night with a little cacio de pepe.
oh, of course, sure. Yeah, no gi would probably.
I just want to do the one where I get to that's nogi, where I just get to wear like my workout stuff
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
roll
yeah,
around.
yeah. Right, because that's a little more wrestling based. And
Yeah.
with the football background, you can.
Well, and also I don't want to have
Double
to.
leg
I don't want to
guys.
have to.
Buy gear.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Exactly. I don't want to.
the sport's expensive already.
I don't know if you heard about the $101,000 in debt I was talking about
Sure.
earlier.
But I did hear you like spending money.
That's
so.
true. I'd have the sickest gi,
Yeah.
Under Armour gi.
Yeah. It's got like a fucking print on it
Yeah.
of something.
A tiger?
Yeah.
No, a lion. You gotta go lion.
Yeah, a lion.
Or
on
a
the back.
gorilla.
I'll do the gorilla, and
See
you
what I
can
did
be
there?
a lion.
Florida man style with a gator.
Oh, now we're talking.
Got
But then
it.
people might think I'm a fan of the University of Florida, which I hate the University of Florida.
Ah. Which school did you play for?
Florida Atlantic University. Go Owls. Oh, the great Alfred Morris. I don't know if you heard of him. No? Oh.
Owls. That's their team?
Yeah, the Burrowing Owls.
Oh. Interesting.
It's still a Division I school. You can fact check me on this if you'd like. When I got there, it was a small D1 school, but it was still D1. So had we gone undefeated, we would have played in a national championship because our coach believed in playing talent bigger than us. So we've played against Ohio State, Georgia, Auburn, Florida. We played against Florida like every year.
Their basketball team always makes a run in the tournament.
Yeah, they just went to the Final Four not too long ago, and then our coach got poached to Michigan, and then he took our best player with him. So we got fucked. This whole thing is...
You missed out on the NIL stuff too.
Oh, dude.
Too soon.
15 years too soon. I graduated from college in 2012. I was playing football down there in 2007. We didn't even know what NIL was. All I know is I remember going to a bar. I won't say the guy's name because I think he has a family now. But I remember going to a bar, and one of our tight ends, who was on SportsCenter Top 10 because he jumped over Mike Jenkins, who played for the University of South Florida and then the Cowboys later on in his life. This guy was a tight end, jumped over a corner, like hurdled him before this was a thing. Mm-hmm. And I remember we're standing in line at the bar. This was our NIL, and I turned to him and I go, "Hey Jay, I'm not 21." And he looked at me and goes, "We're Division I football players. We can do whatever the fuck we want." And I was like, "There we go. That's payment enough, baby."
Dude, football is so terrifying to me.
It's the worst.
It's so scary.
I love it so much, but it's the worst.
Like, I played it as a kid, and I had fun. But as an adult, when I watch it, I'm like, oh.
Dude,
Yeah. I cringe.
I will cry. I'm a super emotional guy. I think we talked about it, bipolar and all that kind of stuff. But I will openly like start crying. Like if I see a play on a field, like when Chris Godwin, who plays for the Tampa Bay Bucks, he dislocated his ankle. And this is a guy who had a bunch of injury problems and finally came back and was like playing super well. And I remember they zoomed in on him when they were putting him in the cart, and you see him saying to the trainer, you can read his lips, he's going, "My career's over, isn't it? My career's over." Dude, I was like, oh my God.
Was it?
No, he came back.
Oh,
He's
he came back.
yeah.
Okay. Nice.
But it's just one of those things where it's like,
You feel it.
yeah, every time there's
or
a big hit.
Shazier, when he was paralyzed and he's doing
Yeah.
this shit, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, every time there's a big hit. If I'm at like a bar, which I don't go to often to watch games, but there's a really cool bar called St. Pat's on 47th. This is a Jags bar. And whenever I go there and there's a big hit, everyone's like, yeah. And in my head, I'm like, that dude's fucked.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's what we like to watch, though.
Yeah.
You ever watch like the hardest hitters, like those back in the day NFL?
Yeah, they used to.
do?
I remember I used to watch those as a kid, but if those come up while I'm scrolling, I just scroll right back. I can't watch it.
Because they're all illegal now.
Well, not even that. It's just as someone who goes to a neurologist who's been told he's probably going to die young because of brain damage. It's like, I can't watch that.
Right. Yeah. That's
Like I've
true.
been told by doctors, like, yeah, dude, you've taken off quite a bit off your life expectancy because of this.
Damn.
So it's like, yeah, I can't watch that shit.
Yeah.
I love football and I watch it all the time, but like it hurts my soul and it gives me a pretty bad tummy ache when I see one of those big hits. I'm just like, fucking.
Another thing that fucks with me is when basketball players, because they're so long and tall.
Yeah, they are.
So when they
Talk about how long they are.
all three of their arms are so long. So like when they fall, it's like,
Yeah.
And a lot of them, when they're coming down, they post. It's like, oh,
Yeah, and you're like, you're gonna fucking just
Snap
you're
your
gonna blow
shit
that whole
backwards.
thing up.
It's-
Yeah.
because I always think back in wrestling when we would get practice takedowns and shit. It's like if you go to your belly, never post.
No.
Always land
Yep.
like this.
When
And
I
it's
did
like,
aggressive
oh.
inlining, they told us the same thing.
Yeah.
Like when I was like in 8th and 9th grade, I was like, I'm gonna be a skater. And I remember I fell one time and I threw my arm out, and one of the guys at the skate park was like, "Don't ever do that again."
Dude.
He's like, "You'd much rather go down like this."
Yeah.
He's like, "You crack your forearm, that'll heal a lot faster than if you shatter your elbow."
That was one thing that I missed was skateboarding and I fell once and I was like, I don't think I ever need to do this again.
I had the same experience with surfing in Florida.
Yeah.
I remember for my 14th birthday, I begged my mom and my ex-stepdad for a surfboard, 7.5 foot fun shape, because I was a chubby little kid. So you had to get a bigger board, and I begged him for it because all the cool kids at school surfed.
Yeah.
And I went out one time. Shark swam under me bigger than my board. And I was like, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this. Swam right back in.
Holy fuck. dude. That's terrifying.
I thought
That's
you were gonna say
different.
you hit a rock or something.
No.
Sharks.
A shark. And it probably could have just been a fish, and I blew it up in my head, but something swam under me, and it was fucking gigantic, and I was like, nope.
Damn. All my buddies, they love going snowboarding and shit, and they try to get me to go, and I'm like, I think I'm all right.
Yeah?
I think I'm okay. I'm not interested in it. I've never done it. And in my mind, it's a lot of money to get hurt. And
See, so you think of the injury thing first.
I think of it first.
I never think of it.
Yeah, I think of that shit
Because,
first.
like, my girlfriend and her family, they go skiing and stuff sometimes. And they're always like, and, you know, like I said, she's Jewish, so they're not super athletic. They're always like, you should come with us. And I'm like, I would destroy you
yeah.
on the fucking snow.
On the slopes.
And she's like, I've been skiing since I was a kid. And I go, it does not matter.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm always like, I'm a natural athlete,
Yeah.
even though I'm not anymore. But it's like, I always think about that where it's like, it's interesting that you're always like, I don't want to do that because I could get hurt. My first instinct is like, I want to do this so I can dominate. And like getting injured is like the furthest thing from my mind.
Yeah, no.
And then I roll my ankle walking down the street. And I'm like, why did I do that?
Yeah. I remember when I tore my labrum, we were in, because apparently that's a snowboarding injury. A lot of guys fall
Oh, yeah,
and they
'cause-
fuck their shit up. And we were at a wrestling tournament in a mountainous area in Western Mass. And I was wearing they put me in the fucking ambulance. My shoulders, like my arm is long. I'm wearing pajama
it is.
pants. I'm wearing pajama pants. Tim's like this with the tongues open because people just put them on me. Fucking, no, not even. I had flip-flops on.
Ooh.
So flip-flops, pajama pants, and just my singlet. I didn't even have a shirt on. And they put me in the thing. They bring me to the hospital, and the lady's like, what happened? Snowboarding accident?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Snowboarding?
Yeah, I actually took my snow boots off, my
Yeah.
snowboarding boots off to put on my flip-flops for this. I knew I was going to a fancy hospital.
Yeah,
I wanted to dress up. I don't want to track my snow in here.
Right. Well, brother, how about we put a bow on this fucking thing?
Perfect.
Hell yeah. Where can people find you? When's your podcast come out?
Oh, yeah.
Plug
Do all
everything.
the plug stuff.
Plug it.
At Brennan T Comedy on all social media. BrennanTComedy.com. Check out my podcast, Your Ex-Drinking Buddy, where I have a guest on and we talk about their best and worst drinking, drug, party, and getting in trouble stories. That's it. Oh, check out the Bro Jason tour. We have a run in Florida at the end of May, and then we'll be in Milwaukee, San Diego, San Francisco, and California next month.
Damn, he's all over the place, folks. All right, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Peace.
Boom.